guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this great email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy who, when he was in senior in high school, he met this girl, became his girlfriend, and it was pretty much like the stars were aligned. She was his true love. Graduated high school, had the amazing summer, and they were they were all both going off to college. And of course, they stayed together. We're going to do the long distance relationship. And this is the girl that he talked about being together forever and getting married and all that. And just like many relationships like this right out of high school and where people do the long distance things in college, it didn't exactly work out the way he had hoped. And unfortunately, this guy gets burned really badly. Not at first, but there's slow level of disrespect and burning. It gets worse and worse and worse until the final, that is it. And I don't think there's a guy out there watching this that didn't go through this themselves at one point or knew somebody that did. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I did the same thing. Did the long distance relationship thing with a girl who was my girlfriend the senior in high school, and it didn't work out. So believe me, I could see where this was going as he was telling the tale. But you're gonna love it, because this guy, after being burned really bad and getting back on the horse, turns his life around, is doing great, and he truly has the last laugh. Oh Lord, he has the last laugh. Not once, but twice. So I'm going to go through his story here, guys, and I think you're definitely going to enjoy this one. He starts off saying, "Hello, SSM. I've been subbed to your channel for quite some time now. I enjoy your email submission stories, and so I thought I'd send one of my own. Feel free to use this story or reject it as you see fit. Also, please keep my name a secret if possible." No problem, brother. When I first started up in college, I was with my girlfriend from high school. It was the usual storybook nonsense. First true love, first other things too. We had a lot of history together. We didn't end up at the same college. However, our colleges were very close to each other, so it seemed pretty manageable to me. But I think you might already figured out where this story is going. Dude, this was pretty much my story. I met my first serious girlfriend senior year in high school, and both of us were similar in that sense that we both wanted to get the hell out of our small town. So naturally we bonded, had a great senior year, amazing summer. Oh, that's it, we're going to be together forever, get married, we'll do the long distance thing. Yeah, well, it didn't exactly work out very well, and guess who got burned? Me. And I learned. And let me tell you, I know that pain that you went through, but let me tell you, I learned. And I was all the wiser afterwards. Well, not 100%. I still made some dumbass mistakes in college, but that was probably my second major learning experience about things. But anyhow, this is about you, not me. It says, anyway, things seemed okay at first. We had made loose plans to stay together and get married after college. Smack. Well, you know what? You can smack me back, because I pretty much did the same thing. Because that's what you do. That's what they show in the movies and TV, right? And you think everything's going to be perfect and magical and you'll be together forever. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. Our career paths were very compatible with each other, so it seemed like a logical progression. However, during our second year of college, I noticed that she began gradually pulling back from me. Less sex, and when we had, you know what, it was unsatisfying. Get on me, get off me type of stuff. In other words, you were getting the bare minimum. The bare minimum to probably keep you around. And I'm amazed, actually, bro, that your first year seemed to go okay, but this is happening in your second year. So you're about 19, 20 years old, and so is she. He says, we also seem to be getting into more arguments over stupid stuff. All throughout high school, we barely raised our voices to each other. But in the second year of college, it was hard to remember a single time that we spent together that we didn't get mildly irritated with each other or have full shouting matches. Well, bro, that's when it'd been time to walk away. That's would have been time to lay down the law. Now, since you said you were getting into fights, it sounds like obviously you were standing up for yourself, but obviously not enough. And I'm not trying to fault you. I'm just calling it because I know how these things work. If all of a sudden you guys were inseparable, had a great thing going, all of a sudden now you're hardly hooking up, and it's as dull as can be, when before maybe it was wild and freaky, and you're getting into fights over stupid crap and she's picking fights, and you're going to see she's the one picking fights, that's when I pretty much just say, you know what? I've loved you all this time, but it's not the same anymore, and maybe it's time we part ways, and I'd walk. But unfortunately, the guy doesn't do that, and you're going to see how this gets worse and worse. Guys, when you're being disrespected, when you're treating her really well, and she's just starting a bunch of drama and fights, which a lot of times they do on purpose because they're losing respect for you. You know, they know they're acting like a-holes, so they'll keep acting like a-holes, hoping you correct them, or they're acting like a-holes in hopes that you break up with them because they got something else going on, and they don't want to be at fault for ending the relationship, which I think is what's going on here. He says here, actually, we weren't irritated with each other. She seemed irritated with me. And again, it was always over stupid things like leaving my shoes too close to her front door when I came by for visits. Oh, God forbid. When we first started together, she wouldn't stop complimenting me. She even adored the fact that I double knotted my shoelaces. Everything I did was endearing to her. But by the second year in college, I could do no right with her. If I cooked dinner for her, she wanted to go out. When I offered to take her out for dinner, which isn't easy in college, she threw a tantrum because she wanted dinner at home. Walk. Get out of there. Guys, if you're listening to this story and you ever go through this crap or you're going through it now, end it. Move on. You're being a good guy. Look at this. He's been a good guy. He cooked dinner for her, which, believe me, a lot of guys in college can't cook, and I was one of them. I could cook ramen noodles in college, and I can make a sandwich. That was the extent of my culinary skills in college. So this dude is cooking for his lady, well, she's not a lady anymore. That's impressive. Or wanted to take her out, and she's throwing a tantrum. Bye-bye. I'll take somebody else out, younger and better looking than you. Tells me she's trying to sabotage things, and when they do that, there's usually another guy in the picture. He said, today I know what the problem was, but at the time it was all so confusing. Bro, I was there, and believe me, I can remember like yesterday. Then the dam broke one day. She totally blew me off for spring break. I've been hoping to spend that week hanging out together so we could hopefully rebuild some bridges and find a way throughout whatever problem there was. Instead, she didn't respond to any of my calls or messages. Well, that's awful. You plan to spend spring break together and just totally blew you off. It sounds to me she's escalating the BS so much that pretty much hoping that you break up with her until it gets too bad that finally she does it or you just have enough. You're going to see it gets way worse. The Monday after spring break, she called and announced that she had some things to tell me. I already knew I wouldn't like this conversation. First, she said that she was not in love with me, but that she had never actually loved me. Dagger through the heart. She said that I just wasn't the kind of person who she could picture marrying anymore. She added that marrying me would be settling as far as she was concerned. After all you've done with her, after all your time with her, remember guys, this is their second year in college, so she's about 19, 20 years old, in her prime. So if she's above average looking, which I'm sure my man here wouldn't be dating some ugly broad, she can get guys pretty easily, and you're about to see, yes, she can. Hard truth number 2 was that a big part of what helped her make her decision was that she met someone just before spring break. There you go. And one thing led to another, and then she met another someone, and another, and another. Basically, she has slept with new people every single day of spring break. And she was evasive about whether it was just one new person per day. Bottom line, it was over forever. Hallelujah, bro. What I tell you, she's in her prime and she's going to keep escalating the BS until finally this guy says, that's it, we're done. She did all this crap on purpose. And so, this guy was young, he was inexperienced, he didn't know any better. I mean, this guy, I guarantee you what this guy knows now, when he's experienced, he would never tolerate this crap to begin with. But, guys, when they start pulling BS, for whatever reasons, you can't take it. So when she early on was starting a bunch of crap about giving him a hard time about his shoes by her door, or he was going to cook for her and she wanted to go out, no, that's when you lay down the law and then just walk away and say it's over. You start taking their crap and disrespect, it's going to get worse. Or they're going to end it or cheat on you with some other dude if they're not doing it already. You got to stand up for yourself, guys. I'm not saying this guy's fault. But she's an a-hole. But I think there are things you could have done. But he was young. He didn't know. I sure as hell didn't. He says, I spent the next several weeks feeling sick to my stomach. Anything that had anything to do with sex made me want to get sick. If I saw a sex scene in a movie or somehow even heard that word, all I could think about was my ex getting her brains effed out by someone who didn't even know her name and didn't care to learn. Dude, I'm sorry. That is a hard, painful thing. And believe me, I don't think there's a guy on this channel watching. Every guy watching this is with you, bro. We get it. We've all been there. And it hurts, and it sucks. And you know what? You never forget. He says, basically, Chad and Tyrone. Reluctantly, I got a summer job working in a warehouse. It was hot and sweaty work. The warehouse was a computer reseller here in town. And there were lots of heavy equipment to move around. Doing that kind of work for 8 hours a day, and you'll see some big changes. I started exercising on weekends. I had a lot of pent-up energy that I could work off when I was in the warehouse. But I needed something to do with that energy on weekends too. The weekend exercise somehow evolved into doing cardio exercise every day, weekend or weekend. So all of a sudden all this heavy lifting on the job and exercise obviously is starting to transform your body in a positive way. As all that was going on, I hung out with my guy friends a lot, and they really helped me work through some of my hang-ups after my bad breakup with my ex. That's what brothers are for. I'm glad you had good buddies. Because I'm sure some of them have been through the same crap. I'm glad you didn't go to a bunch of girls and ask their advice on how to handle it. They'd tell you to go give her flowers and sweep her off her feet or some bullshit like that. Your bros will say, move on. Let's all hang out together. Let's have some beers. Let's have a good time. Let's do a road trip. That's what your brothers are for. And they give you solid advice. He says, when we go out like that, I somehow attract a little bit of attention from women. So, he's getting in better physical shape because of his job. He's hanging out with his bros. He's getting over her. And he's starting to get female attention. Wait till you see where this leads. He continues, it turns out spending 8 hours per day carrying heavy computer equipment around will do wonders for your physique. I didn't take advantage of it that summer because, again, anything to do with sex made me feel like I would get sick. But I did enjoy the attention, though. Yeah, it's an ego boost. If all of a sudden you're looking good and the girls are checking you out, you're still healing. You got to get through that, guys. You can't just go. A lot of people just jump into other relationships or hooking up and whatever to get over somebody. You got to heal. Otherwise, it's just buried down deep and it's going to come out at an ugly time. But he heals. And let me tell you, he has a comeback. He said, the summer job ended and I went back to school in the fall. But things were very different my third year in college. For starters, I effed everybody in sight. A relationship was the last thing on my mind. I guess that gave me a slight bad boy vibe or something, because I can't emphasize how easy it was to go into the bedroom with total strangers. You know why? Because you stopped giving a crap. You've been burned, you had your heart smashed in a million pieces, and you survived. It didn't help, and it certainly doesn't hurt that you got yourself in much better physical shape, but you're hanging out with your bros, having a good old time, and could care less. That's the trick. Bad boys don't give a crap. Guys, I've had my heart broken a few times in my life. And when I've gone from the nice guy phase, because I was your typical nice guy back in the day, I would immediately do a 180 to the bad boy thing because I just got so fed up. It was like that. It was so easy getting ass. Problem was, that wasn't my real nature. And I would eventually go back to my nice guy ways and the same crap would happen again. Eventually I found the happy medium, where I wasn't the a-hole chatter Tyrone, but I wasn't the weak nice guy. I was right in the middle. Assertive and strong and having values, but not being, like those dudes or too nice. He says, for example, one time I betted a girl just by walking over to her, telling her that I liked her pants, and then telling her, not asking her, to come sit with me and my friends in the commons while we were waiting for our next class at our college. She was in my room, undressed and on her back within an hour. To this day, I still don't know her name. I have many other stories like that one, but one story is probably enough. I get the point, dude. Sounds like you turned into Chad and Tyrone your third year of college. Anyway, by this point, I got a job in the mall close to my apartment. And one night, my coworkers and I had closed up my store and exited the mall when I found my ex-girlfriend's parked next to my car in the parking lot. How interesting. Isn't it funny? They always come back. Except this time, this guy's no longer the nice guy he was before. This guy is the bad boy who's hooking up with girls left and right. And clearly word has gotten around. She claims she only wanted to wish me a happy birthday, and to be fair, it was my birthday when that happened. Dude, that was on purpose. She planned that. She wasn't just there to wish you a happy birthday. She could have sent you a text or an email or a Facebook message. No. But I knew she had her own agenda. They always do. It turns out my ex had seen me a few times over the last few months. I didn't even notice that she'd been there, but she has seen me at various sports bars or restaurants or whatever. And every time she saw me, I was always with a different girl. And a girl who was a lot hotter than my ex. Guys, as I've said before, success is the best revenge. But right after that, when it comes to a girlfriend or girl that really burned you badly, you get a hotter girlfriend than her, or particularly younger, if she's a little bit older. Oh, makes him crazy. He says, my ex never came out and said she was jealous. But I got the idea that she was. Now, some people say that living well is the best revenge, and maybe that's true, but in some cases, I think there's a lot to be said about totally rejecting the girl who cheated on you and dumped you, which is exactly what I did. Absolutely. Women hate rejection. I told her that I didn't love her and that I never loved her. Ooh, remember, that's what she said to him before she told him that she hooked up with multiple dudes on spring break. Payback's a bitch. Basically, the exact same thing she said to me after spring break. But I skipped the part about how many girls I've been with because I think she already knew at that point. I'm sure that felt good, dude. Some people may not like that. Some people say, oh, that's mean and horrible, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? You were great to her. And look what she did. I'm sure it felt good. Now, obviously, your third year of college, you turned into Chad and Tyrone. I hope that started to ease up a little bit, and you found your happy medium, because being Chad and Tyrone forever is going to have a negative impact in your life. But if you want to be a bad boy for a while, it's fine. Anyway, I forgot all about my ex after that for a few years until she messaged me again on Facebook one day. Told me she misses me and basically tried to come crawling back all over again. What I tell you, they always come crawling back. When they see all of a sudden that you've moved past them and other girls want you, they're hotter than them, all of a sudden they want you back. Nope, you had your chance. But by then, I had settled into a profitable career and learned all about MG Tao. So if I'm not willing to marry a hot 20-something exercise instructor, and I'm not, why would I want to marry my not-so-hot 30-something ex who hasn't exercised since we were teenagers? There you go. After what she did to you, unfortunately, bro, you may be wondering, why after what she did to me would she come back thinking I'd give her another chance? Or some of you guys may be thinking that. I'll tell you why. Because in her mind, you're still the same nice guy that you were before, when she pulled a whole bunch of BS and would take it. Or you would call her on it, but not enough to walk away. So she thought she could probably get him back, because she saw obviously how in love with her that he was back in the day. No. That is it. It's over. And she even tried a second time, like right here. Nope. He says, if you decide that this email is worthy of a video, then hopefully my story can inspire other heartbroken, cheated upon men that you can find happiness on your own terms rather than trying to search for a fictional nonsense like soulmates, one true love, and even BS. Keep up the work. Good work, SSM. Dude, that is an awesome story. And yes, guys, you can pick yourselves up, you can focus on yourself, do very well in life, and if you've been burned really badly, you can move on. Okay, I'm sure there's somebody right now watching this, somewhere in the world, that's going through something kind of like what that dude went through, the pain. You can get through it, man. Hang out with your bros. If you got to mourn for a weekend and, scream and yell and drink or whatever you got to do, okay, fine for a weekend. But then you get back on that horse and you start getting your life together. You start exercising. You start doing things to improve yourself, hanging out with your buddies, family members that are supportive. And don't take advice from girls on how to get her back. And you move on. And you'll get your life together. And mark my words, one day they'll come crawling back. It could take 6 months, it could take 6 years, but they will come crawling back, and you will have the satisfaction after they've done you wrong. And believe me, in this story, she had done him wrong after she had done a bunch of dudes. They'll come back, and you can say, sorry, sweetheart, you had your shot. But this is a very relatable story. A lot of guys have been through this in one form or another, but I'm really proud of you. I hope you're doing really well in life, and take what you learned, and your story is going to help some guys out. And then you just keep out there doing your thing, and you'll inspire some people. So that's awesome. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Guys, comment below. Let me know if you guys have been in a situation like this. Treat her well, treat her great, and she broke up with you. Lay her on the road. She came crawling back, but by then, you're doing so well, you wouldn't give her the time of day. Because there's way hotter girls that, if that's what you're into, that you have options with, not her. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.